Hi everyone, I'm Sonia Kulis. This is cute little me there. I want to talk to you about in this video. Have you ever had a bioconductor package or CRAN package, a CRAN package that you downloaded and they're just not working anymore and you're not sure why it's not working for some operation? I mean, it's not something on your end, as you that or it could be potentially, but this is one of the troubleshooting things that even just running some basic operations or following the demo that is given for the package, and sometimes packages do have a lot of different demos that are available. Like if we check on Bioconductor, this is Bioconductor over here, and we can see the software. We can look at the 2083 software packages as of right now on Bioconductor release 3.14. And I still do love going kind of through this list and seeing all the amazing packages. It would be one of my dreams to get publish something on Bioconductor. I think that's so cool. Oh, they even have a Santa. Oh my gosh. I'm a huge Christmas fan. It just took me a second to dig this out. I love Christmas. Anyways, they have all these packages here, and then sometimes you can try to follow along the tutorials that they have. You can look at the HTML or R script reference manual, and then you can look at here, for instance, this is I predict open reading frame and nucleotide sequences as well. And this just came out in 2021 with the paper published, for instance. This is C++, and you can follow along this part here. This requires that, if you don't have Bioconductor, you can install Bioconductor. And then once you've installed Bioconductor, you can install the package here. And then once you have the package installed, so this first part is about quietly installing BiocManager, which is essentially helping you load Bioconductor in your version of R, the statistical software. And then you can load it in here. You can load in the library. Once you've installed it, the package, you can load the package in here. And then when you're loading it, you can try to copy along and follow the code that they provided, the sample. That's what I often try to do to see if you can recreate the same results. And sometimes you can try this way. Sometimes they have this readme nice vignette, which is really nice. Other times they may just have the reference manual. It really depends, or they could have like both. So you can try going through this. Sometimes this is not, this gives you the arguments and descriptions and values for different things like, what does this function do if you use this, identify all potential start and stop codons in a nucleotide sequence, et cetera, et cetera. So you can probably follow along these. This one is helpful, but I often found this one to be more helpful if it's provided because like they give you examples and plots and more explanation sometimes. And this is more like a reference manual. So even when you're following them, trying to recreate certain things, you may not be able to recreate what they're doing. And maybe there's something just going on with the R version that you have downloaded. Maybe you need to update it. Sometimes you may need to reinstall it as it can get buggy. And I'm going to show you an example primarily for the aliases to entrez package. So what that is trying to do is it's trying to help us go from like a gene name, for instance, like if we have a gene like BHLHE40, and it's going to try to help us map it to the corresponding entrez ID, which is another identifier here. I have videos kind of going more into depth on aliases to entrez, but rest be sure just to know that this is just an example of a package on Bioconductor that is using to kind of map between these. It sort of also maps between this and this, gene names, all sorts of aliases, different names for the same gene. Even older versions, it tries to find those out and map those as well to the entrez ID, which is just an identifier that I'm a huge fan of because I think sometimes it can be more robust. So anyways, there's that package. And even if it's not directly here, there are a bunch of packages here. I sort of want to talk about aliases to entrez. It imports a bunch of packages as well. We can also just go directly here. There are a bunch of packages here. I sort of want to talk about aliases to entrez. Today, I sort of want to show you what happens if you have an issue with the CRAN package, like aliases to entrez, which is fast, accurate, up-to-date correspondence between human gene expression data sets and various data and platforms as well. How do you sort of troubleshoot that as well? So this is what this video is going to show you. In case it's just not working, how do you reinstall a package that you have loaded? And I was running into issues and I want to show you how you can troubleshoot that basically through this video. Guys, the idea is that even though aliases to entrez is a CRAN package, a CRAN package from the comprehensive R archive network, we can still work with BiocManager. And it's sort of like a way to show you for anything at all, for any Bioconductor package, if it's not working, how you can get it to work. I was choosing aliases to entrez because that's an example I had on file to show you guys an example of a package just not working. But BiocManager, which is used to primarily install Bioconductor packages, that can definitely be used for installing CRAN packages. So if you're seeing right behind me, what CRAN is it's the Comprehensive R Archive Network. That's what it is. And basically, if you see here, that's what it is. When we were looking up aliases to entrez, we were seeing that it's one of the CRAN packages here. So it's a CRAN package. CRAN checks here. So it's a comprehensive archive network. So it stores identical up-to-date versions of code and documentation for R. And you can see that aliases to entrez is a CRAN R package. So again, you see behind, this is, CRAN. He's pointing up at CRAN. Aww. He's looking at that. Aww. And basically, the key idea here is that when you want to do this conversion, you see all these functions and aliases to entrez. It's all in the CRAN here, the CRAN package here. And when you're looking, whenever you're installing packages on Bioconductor, as well Bioconductor packages, you use BiocManager. That's a key way to install packages. So if we see here, like Bioconductor, if I want to install any packages there, like as I was showing you, a key way to get started with any package in Bioconductor, like let's say I want to use BioC generics, like the first one, it'll always say, if you don't have BiocManager, please quietly install it. So you install BiocManager, then you can install like BioC generics, for instance, generic functions here, like, what we were just seeing. We can even look up like genome info database, for instance, translation between different chromosome sequence naming conventions. And again, if you don't have it, it asks you to install BioManager, and then you do BiocManager install genome info DB. That's how BiocManager is useful here in installing packages as well. So the key idea is that BiocManager tries to make sure that all packages are installed from the same Bioconductor version using compatible R and CRAN packages that we just talked about, like aliases to entrez. And in fact, when we do the BiocManager install, whenever we're calling this install function, what's really happening, when we call this BiocManager install function for any of these packages, it's always a BiocManager install. Again, we can see another example. You just BiocManager install package name. Like if we look at Biomark, for instance, which is also very helpful data analysis for comprehensive bioinformatics data analysis. Like, God bless the people who come up with these packages. It's super helpful. And in general, people who share their code, I really appreciate it. And again, to install BioMart, for instance, I like how they always capitalize the R. It's very cute. This BioCManager install. So the key idea is that BioCManager install function will install or update Bioconductor and CRAN packages in a Bioconductor release, which is very key. And in fact, what this shows you is that how you can install BioCManager as well, and how you can install certain versions of it, specific versions of Bioconductor. So Bioconductor versions are associated with specific R versions. Attempting to install a version of Bioconductor that is not supported by the version of R in use leads to an error. So you need to install the version of Bioconductor based on the version of R that you have. This is also very helpful. How do I install Bioconductor packages? How do I check? And all of this, right? So BioCManager package is the entry point into the Bioconductor package repository, like all those 2083 packages. So this is the only Bioconductor package distributed on CRAN. But basically, once you've installed BioCManager package, you can install more packages, as I showed you, Bioconductor packages using BioCManager install, and in parentheses, in quotes, you have to write the package name to install packages from the Bioconductor repository. But this function, you can also use this function to install packages from other repositories like CRAN. And that's exactly like what aliases to entrez is. Even though to install aliases to entrez, I could do either or. I could do install that packages. Whenever we do this, this is from CRAN. And I could do aliases to entrez. Like this, I could definitely do, and this is from a CRAN download. That's for CRAN. Or I could do BioCManager install, and then I could do aliases to entrez. And that would also work actually. Even though aliases to entrez is a CRAN package, and typically if it's a Bioconductor package, you can just use this. This is what you would use. So if it's for Bioconductor, you would typically just use this package. But if it's for a CRAN package, you can use install.packages, or you can use BioCManager install and then put the package name. Because and I'm actually going to show this because I want to give a generic example of, what happens if for any Bioconductor package. So I just want to show you how you do it using BioCManager. And the idea is that we're using BioCManager to help us out because, again, aliases to entrez is a CRAN package, but we're using BioCManager here. And I'm going to show you how to do that because for any Bioconductor package, this is really your only option here. You install.packages can install only CRAN packages like aliases to entrez, whereas BioCManager install is capable of also doing CRAN packages, these CRAN packages here, but also Bioconductor packages. So it's a little bit more versatile here. So again, it can install packages from other repositories like CRAN, which has this alias to entrez, if it's not already available in Bioconductor first. The first thing is going to check if it's in Bioconductor in those 2083 packages. If it's not there, then it's going to go. If it's not there, it's just going to go straight to CRAN. I recommend BioCManager in any case to be safe, especially when you're working with biological packages. So the package BioCManager is available from the CRAN repository and used to install packages from Bioconductor. You can use this notably, what's really great is that BioCManager install, as I was mentioning, will fall back on the CRAN repository if a package cannot be found in the Bioconductor repository. So what it will do is when I do BioCManager install aliases to entrez, it's going to say, hey, actually that package is not in Bioconductor, so I'm just going to go to CRAN and get that and install that. So that's sort of the logic behind this as well. I just want to show you how when you use BioCManager, you try to make these updates to packages, or if they're not working, like aliases to entrez, that was just an example I have on file. But the same idea will be true. You want to be able to, like if you already have loaded in a package in your R workspace, like if you've called library, it'll already be in your R workspace. Then you need to unload it, like detach it, and then do a force, like reinstall the package using force equals true. Force equals true says, hey, I know that we already have this package installed on our computer, and I just really want to reinstall it. So I just want to force it to reinstall because something wasn't right with the installation. It's just not working. Let's just reinstall it. Let's just redo it. So that's what force equals true does. It helps our reinstall a package. If it's not already working properly, it just says, let's please redo the installation. I want to force it to happen again. Because R says, hey, I already have the package there. Why do you want to reinstall it? The force means like, let's please reinstall it. Something just wasn't working. And you please have to delete what you already have in your folder. Like R has a folder for every package and subfolders for data and whatever is needed to run the package. Delete the existing folder and then reinstall the new folder like of the package, and hopefully it will work. And it did for aliases to entrez, and the goal is that it would do the same for any Bioconductor package as well, because essentially we're using BiocManager all along, and that's what is needed for Bioconductor. And please let me know if any questions. And thank you so much for watching this. And hopefully, I hope that you figure out from this video that the ways to sort of troubleshoot different packages that are not working for you as well. And I hope that you know that you can see your whole suite of packages that you've loaded and downloaded. So what do you do if aliases to entrez the package if it's not working for you right away? How do you get it to work? That's what I want to show you right now, because what's happening is I was trying out this code basically with a set of gene names. So I have like a gene names vector here of gene names, and I had tried to load in library aliases to entrez. And what this package is supposed to do is it's supposed to help me. It's supposed to help me convert gene symbols, previous symbols, or aliases to gene entrez IDs. So it looks at aliases to symbol to map gene alias to official symbols. It looks for loc symbols. So genes that begin with LOC, it maps them to the entrez IDs and tries to find correspondence within HGNC databases. And it transforms BRCA1 to BRCA, for instance, is trying all sorts of mappings to make these mappings possible. So we're going to try this out here. And you might get something like this. And this is especially, I'm following the instructions that were given in the tutorial guide, where you have to import hgnc.txt with the package aliases to entrez, and you have hgnc read.dilim file. So, and we want to run this convert symbols function, but you might get some errors. So if that's the case where it's having problem reading the file, and you'll see here that the file variable, it still is kind of empty. So if you see that, also you might want to see is, I'm going to try to see what will happen if I like try to reinstall this. So if I were to run this right now without the force equals true, so let me show this to you, what would happen? I'm just going to do N. I don't want to update these packages right now. Packages not installed when version is the same as current. Use force equals true to reinstall. So I'm just going to try it and see what happens. So it's going to try to reinstall it because maybe something's going on with the version. I just have to debug it and see why this is the case. What we can do is, so it's already in use and it's not going to be installed, then all we can do is we can just uncheck this. So we're unloading a package. So that means that it's in use and it will not be installed because we're already using it. So it's saying, hey, we're not going to install this because you're already using it. So I just went to the packages and I just unclicked this. So this packages sort of tells you like all of the things that you have listed here. So, so now that I've done that, I can just run this now with the force equals true, because now it's not being used. So I just uncheck this. So and now what you're going to see is that whereas the file was empty before, now we reinstall the package and it's better now. Now we see this. So that's awesome. So now we can see this file is here. That is really great. Now we can run this here. We can run this. And it says matching 4,633 symbols to approved symbols. So it's adaptive parsing. So in the file that I was trying, I have basically, I don't know the entree IDs. And I'm just really trying to figure those out for, I don't know the entree, I'm trying to figure out the entree IDs for a list of genes. It is like right now, the file is, it looks something like this. And I'm just trying to figure out those IDs for a list of genes like these, for instance, about 4,703. And I don't know the entree IDs for those. So I'm trying out various techniques. So as it's doing it, it's kind of looking at 4,702 symbols to HTNC approved symbols, because in my data file that I have uploaded here, as you can see here, there are 4,707 observations. No, wait. As you can see here, in the data file that I've uploaded, there are 4,702 gene names here. Hence, it's trying to map them to the gene names, HGNC gene names. And now it has these many 4,665 symbols remaining, and then it's trying to map those to LOC symbols. And now we have 4,663 symbols remaining. So it is really trying to do this mapping and trying to help us map them to what we're interested in. And then now it's doing some adaptive parsing to try to match them. And that involves like sort of looking at genes and adjusting them. For instance, if the database has BRCA1, for instance, not BRCA/1, is trying to get rid of all those other slashes, trying to equalize it. This is a key gene in breast cancer. But I just wanted to show you how this might take some time to run this because it's trying its hardest. But I just wanted to show you an example of reinstalling a package and Bioconductor, especially if it's misbehaving, if it's not working, you can just force it to work. If you've already loaded it in, you can just go to the packages and then just uninstall it, just remove it. And I just also wanted to show an example of the aliases to entrez being applied. Thank you, guys. And if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. So this is just how to troubleshoot if your Bioconductor packages are not working as they should, or they were working before. Sometimes if things are a little bit buggy, you might just have to restart it, reinstall it, maybe sometimes update it if you need to. And another way to check for those updates is you can just go in your RS, you can go for check for package updates as well. And it's going to tell you which packages that you might need to update. And then you can decide the packages that you want to update. It's going to look at package installed. What do you have installed? Like I have ADE 4, and I could have a newer version is available. And then we can click on the news to see more about it. For instance, it's opening the news. And then the news, if you open the news, it brings open something like this, where it sort of tells you the updates that were made, like the commits that were made, the changes that have been made to those packages over time. So then you can, if you want to install them, you can select all and install them, or you can just select certain ones. So you already see what you have installed and what is available. So here I have 1.2.1, but I could up, what is available is 1.4.0. So I can then install those updates as well as needed. But yeah, sometimes some code always needs to be updated. Our phones need to be updated. So much needs to be updated. I just wanted to show you how you can do that, especially like if a Bioconductor package isn't working, but it was working before, just have to reinstall it sometimes, or maybe have to update it, see if it's the same version that you need or if it needs to be updated. For instance, like if we need to see if it's been updated or not. And a lot of times these are typically for the main R stream here. So for Bioconductor, you may have to just like double check in Bioconductor to see what are the new updates that there are as well. Or you can just try the approach I did where you just do install, but you add force equals true. So that's sort of forcing the installation to take place, even if you already have it downloaded. So BiocManager is always needed two colons install and then the package name. And then if you have installing it for the first time, you can just do this part here. And if you are doing it again and it's giving you difficulty, or in general, you can always just do force is true. If you've already loaded it into your R console workspace, you have to go to packages and then just remove it, unload it from there. So yeah, I just hope this is helpful for you guys. So please let me know if you have any questions at all. I'm Sonia Queller, and I'm happy to help. Thank you. Wanted to follow up the aliases to entrez package. It took a while to run, essentially trying to convert the aliases to entrez IDs. And I just kind of wanted to show you what it ended up saying in the end. It was able to kind of do as much conversions as possible. So this is sort of where we are right now in terms of the IDs. So after it ran the IDs, it sort of kind of returned these. A lot of them had NA, not applicable. It wasn't able to do those conversions. But some of them, like for instance, this LLC, this thing had some sort of an ID. It's kind of like an interesting find, actually. Like that one was a difficult find. I can probably guess. If I were to look up this gene here, I would see that it's an RNA gene, and I look up on gene cards, I can see that it has an NCBI entrez gene ID, which is what I'm interested in. That is this number over here, which seems to check out pretty well with this.